So I would say environmental advocacy to me means not being afraid to stand up for what you think is right, especially with regards to the climate crisis, and being bold enough to take up space and raise awareness about the climate crisis, about issues that people don't want to talk about, don't want to acknowledge, or don't understand well enough. I would say that the main driving force for my advocacy is definitely the knowledge of the urgency of the climate crisis, and knowing that we have only a limited window of opportunity to really act on the climate crisis and act decisively. We do need to reduce our emissions by half in 2030 and reduce it to net zero by 2050, and that's a really short window, but we do know from the reports that have come out that we are able to, and we have the technologies and they are existing right now to reduce our emissions to that amount and really keep warming of our earth to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And so now it's really just a matter of political will and shifting that. So the urgency of that really kind of drives me. Students are poised in a very unique position because, one, we represent a generation of youths that will be really affected by the climate crisis, and our lives will be inevitably shaped by the climate crisis. And there is strength in being different from the people who are speaking in the forefront right now, who are like our political leaders, who are corporations, and powerful people. And we represent a generation with no interest, like no political interest, no financial interest. We're just interested in the fact that it's quality of our lives that will be affected by the climate crisis and our futures. Students represent youths, and youth are really a voice that are really being heard right now, and this is really our moment to kind of step forward and really take charge of our futures. And I think that students can do a few things, right? For one, we can really raise awareness, because that raising awareness is free and it's easy, and we're very well connected to many other people our age, so it's very easy to kind of reach out to circles around us to raise awareness about the climate crisis. And I think another thing that we can do is definitely students can organize community groups, and they can organize initiatives. We do have the time on the side to kind of really work towards a better future together, and that's why I think youths and students are really important in the climate fight. Students should focus on initiatives that don't just focus on zero waste, don't just focus on recycling, but rather encouraging other students to think bigger about the climate crisis, and to think about the devastating impacts that the climate crisis has on vulnerable communities, and also to think about who are really responsible for the climate crisis. It's not households and individuals, but rather it's governments and corporations that need to be held accountable. And so we as students, can really raise awareness and change the stigma around climate crisis and what people can do about the climate crisis, and to really participate in citizen work groups in Singapore. There are many community groups in Singapore who do environmental activism and environmental advocacy, and students can kind of raise awareness about these groups and how they can help to fight the climate crisis in a more effective way.